All right, welcome back to another feedback session, Timmy. Let's get it. Let's get right into it. Let's address the bugs first. So, you probably already know this, but the legs have a double parent issue with these settings when it's not in FK mode. And yeah, I mean, FK mode has issues too. It looks like you probably know this already, but just pointing it out. Next up, rigid roll doesn't work for the right leg. So if I were to switch this back to IK and a rigid roll for both legs, wait, no, rigid roll, not rigid. So it looks like the left leg, it is disconnected now and I can roll it like that. But now the right leg has this issue. All right, bug number 4, when IK parent is disabled, the IK controller doesn't follow the root bone. So I noticed this for the arms, but actually I need to test it for the legs. So currently it's IK on the arms right now, and there's IK parent. And yeah, it follows the root bone in IK parent. But when I disable IK parent here, so it's disconnected from the body, but it's also disconnected from the root bone, which shouldn't be the case. When the root bone's moved, then everything should move with it. Now, let's talk about the changes that I need for this rig. So the first one is actually something that I overlooked, and hopefully this is easy to fix at this stage still. So in your rig, okay, wait, let me put this to rigid mode. I rotate this controller like this, but I don't actually want the origin point for this controller, the body scale controller, to be like at the very bottom of this body mesh. Now I know why you did this. It's so that when the independent body scale is enabled, yeah, this happens. So it just makes sure that the leg, it like stays level with the leg. But I actually would use this body scale controller more like as a body controller, like a main controller overall. So if we go back to like the first iteration of the Wanzie rig, the one that I rigged, the very first one that I made, my body origin point is actually slightly above it. And the reason why I put it here is so that when it's rotated 90 degrees, it looks like this. It looks weird when you put it at the very bottom here, because now the butt is like, there's like a gaping hole here, and it looks better when it looks like this. It looks like, you know, the bottom mesh is like the butt, and it doesn't look weird. Like for the proportions that this character has, it looks nicer when the origin point is slightly above, so it looks like this when the body is being rotated. So I really hope you can bring this origin point up without breaking anything. My apologies for mentioning this only now, but hopefully it's not a big problem. Alright, the next change, feature to disable hip or shoulder following the tangent. I need to explain this. It's kind of confusing. I don't even know how to explain this properly. Okay, considering the legs have problems right now, let's focus on the arms first. So let's switch the arms to IK. So I remember we mentioned this last time, like on the very first and the very early iterations of the leg rig, where I would like the top face of this limb. So it's either the shoulder in the case of the arm, and it's the hip for the case of the legs. And I want these like when the body is moved, I want these like the top part point toward the IK controller, so it looks like this instead of this, because this doesn't really look natural in most situations, right? Because when it comes to other Minecraft rigs, when you bend it, this is the type of curve you get. It curves and then it points toward the hip or the shoulder when it's in IK mode and it's stretched out like this. But in the case of this rig, it just creates this S shape and it's just not natural. And I'm not sure what the solution would be. I remember I suggested how maybe you can add a damped track for this controller so that this controller can like point towards the IK controller. But if you do that, then there is this like a subtle curve here before it curves down like this. So this part may not be ideal. I could use the tweak controllers to like maybe get it to work that way, but it's best for it to automatically behave this way, like right out the box. So yeah, I would like to know if you have a solution for this. The closest thing I can see the closest thing that this rig can do to achieve what I'm describing right now is to use this STR controller and scaling it to 2, and this kind of gives what we want, but we need to also extend it so that it connects to the shoulder, and it's also not pointing directly to the shoulder. It's like pointing, it's like following the S curve right? So it's only pointing like it's pointing somewhere off. And if I try to stretch it to, you know, connect it to the shoulder, it gives the S shape again. So, and unfortunately, again, it's probably late to mention this right now, but it's not something that I thought of when only looking at the limb rig by itself. Like this is something that it only came to mind when I see it all put together with the body. So let me hear on your input on this. All right, change number 3. This is a very minor thing. The subdivisions for the meshes, I found that they have been overkill. So, okay, I already changed the subdivisions to my own like preference, but I believe when I first got this rig, like the first subdivision modifier was like on 3 and the second one's on 2, and this is just absolutely overkill because even when I stretch it like by a crazy amount, I can like completely disable this modifier and there's like barely any changes to this. So for viewport's sake, I would put this on 0, and then for rendered sake, I'll put this on 2. All right, the very last change is the chest root bone. So I noticed you have this chest root and this body scale, and I already acknowledged that the body scale is supposed to do this. And the chest scale has like a middle origin point, which is good for doing like flips and stuff. But most of the time, I actually prefer using the bottom like origin point here. When I animate this rig, like I can see myself 95 or 99% of the time, I would be using this controller as like my main body controller instead of this one. But currently it seems like the chest root controller is the primary controller that you have rigged it, because this one, when I move this controller, the chest root like lags, like stays where it is. So yeah, just swap the child and parent relationship between these two controllers around and we'll be on our merry way. Anyway, that's everything I have. There are also these 2 questions which I would have asked in the Discord channel. All the best on fixing everything, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say about some of these.